There's been a lot of discussion about the underlying ideas and values in hip hop and rap music. On the one hand, a lot of hip hop has been strongly praised for really addressing a lot of important social issues of concern to inner city minorities. So that a lot of rap addresses concerns about police brutality, racial profiling, the problems of drugs and violence that really affect people's lives in urban inner city areas. On the other hand, over the years, some hip hop and rap has also been criticized for having very misogynist, anti-female views. That a lot of times music and hip hop tends to demean women as having no other function than to sexually please males. A lot of music, tends to promote sexually abusing women, being very aggressive to women, and also some critics argue that some hip hop and rap tends to really glorify violence. So think about some of the hip hop and rap that you may listen to. What would you say in response to these criticisms and this sense of what kind of ideas are conveyed in rap? There's a high degree of concentration in the ownership of the music business in the US. If you look at the next slide, it's actually pretty impressive here that three companies, Warner Music, Sony Music, and Universal Music, are responsible for roughly 90% of the market share of music in the US. That raises questions about whether or not this oligopoly of three companies provides a sufficient diversity of popular music in terms of the artists that they sign, recruit, develop, market, and promote. Do these three companies tend to promote a broader range of music, or do they tend to encourage more conformity and homogeneity in terms of the kind of music that we listen to in our society? Now, what's also interesting is that even though these three companies tend to have a more of a dominant role in the music business, there are also lots of smaller independent music labels out there. And that there's an interesting relationship between these major record labels and these smaller independent companies. There's also kind of like a division of labor here, where the major labels rely upon these smaller independent music labels and companies to spot new trends, to figure out what are emerging types of music, and to develop aspiring new performers that might be commercially successful at some future point. You see this being the case in the genres of grunge music in the 90s, also hip hop and rap, where smaller labels developed these alternative genres and performers in these styles of music, grunge and rap. And then, as the independent labels became more successful, cultivating and marketing these performers, the major labels would swoop in and then buy up the independent label and then take advantage of those artists for their own commercial success. So an interesting relationship here between the major labels and the independent labels, where independents are relied upon to develop new acts, new trends, new genres of music. It used to be that an aspiring recording artist was really at the mercy of one of the larger record labels like Universal or Warner. In the past, for a aspiring musician to be successful, he or she would have to get a contract with one of the major labels, and in doing so, really give up a lot of control over their own finances and career and music and image. Now, in the era of the internet and a lot of social media sites, aspiring artists have a number of other options. There are lots of examples today of musicians deciding to forego major labels and instead strike out on their own online, where musicians will set up their own internet site to sell their music online, or they will set up sites on Facebook to try and promote their own music. So increasingly, artists are able to survive and thrive without being underwritten by one of the major record labels. This raises some questions about whether or not the internet and social media may ultimately undermine or undercut the power and influence of the remaining big three record labels like Universal and Sony. In the future, will more aspiring musicians decide to forget about these major labels and develop their own career on their own online? And also, it's a question for you. If you were an aspiring musician and you were trying to strike out for some commercial success, what route would you go? Would you try to get one of the major labels to sign you to a contract? Or would you instead try to become successful on your own through social media and online sites? The second question on this last slide is an important one. When we think about popular music in our society, can we say that it is a site of free expression? When you think about the music that you listen to on the radio and online, is there a robust, free expression of ideas and values in terms of the music that you listen to and that's available in various media? Or is it more the case that these three large record labels impose a kind of conformity and homogeneity on the types of music that are largely made available in our society? And when we think about independent artists, will they, as I said in an earlier slide, will they increasingly circumvent the major labels themselves and try to become successful on internet sites and on social media like Facebook? And when we think about popular music more generally, does it, convey the richness of the society in which we live, or are only the voices of certain groups heard while others are somewhat marginalized?